Hello, my name is Christian Schütte and I'm from SAP Experience, and I would like to introduce our new S4HANA data migration cockpit converter, which is a tool which can be used. It's Excel based. I will show you after explaining the scheme, which is transferring the data which you extract from your legacy system using the downloaded SAP XML load templates from the data migration cockpit and transforms this data using mapping rules, using cleaning routines into those to be filled load sheets, which then can be processed in SAP's data migration cockpit. So those can be simulated. There can be a feedback to the people who are doing the mapping and who are running the data migration cockpit converter until the simulation is completely out of errors and the data is ready for load. So you can easily understand that this allows you to always take the full load of your extracted data and convert it into these XML files, load sheets, and you don't have to manually key in data or just do sample loads with a set of data. You can always use the full data set for each of these data objects, which allows you to apply the basic principle for success in data loads, which means load often and load all. There is also a built-in update option. That means you can take these pre-filled XML load sheets and use them as an additional input into the S4HANA data migration cockpit converter and update the fields which you have cleansed in these XML load sheets, and they will be taken and updated in the newly generated XML load sheets. What we're not doing is we're not doing mapping of values from legacy system fields mapping to the SAP values. This happens in the data migration cockpit where conversion tables can be provided and defined and will be processed during simulation and load. So let me now show you how this thing works. It's very easy to handle. It's very generic and it's helping a lot to get rid of manual filling the XML load sheets with data which you have already in your legacy ERP or any other systems and can be extracted into any format which can be converted into XLSX, because this is what the SAP, the S4HANA data migration cockpit converter needs as an input there. So how does it work? It's basically an Excel-based tool, so you can just start this converter. And what we do have is we do have this downloaded source templates from SAP Data Migration Cockpit. Here is just a set, but you can download those for any object you need in the Data Migration Cockpit. What we also have is a sample source of extracted data here for customer, and I will show you the data which we are using. So it's only 2 records, and what we want to do is, for example, we want to do some formal cleansing, and especially we want to separate the street name from the house number. That's the one thing. Secondly, We want to remove the spaces in telephone numbers, and I will show you now how this is going to work using the S4HANA data migration cockpit converter. So we are simply starting opening this Excel spreadsheet, and what you find here is a mapping of all fields which are available in this load sheet, which you download from the data migration cockpit. It's very easy to transpose from each of those sheets the field names into this column, and then you give a source table name, which is basically the sheet name in your input Excel file. And you can also, with this option, combine different sheets in from your Excel file into your mapping, which allows for various combinations, for example, to combine data from different legacy systems into one target in SAP. So what we can see here is that we do have the address mapping, address field, and there is a special routine. And this routine 2A, for example, is separating the street from the address. The second one is separating the house number. And there is another routine, which is, for example, putting a fixed value. You can also give fixed values depending on the field. In this case, if this field comes without the content, then DE will be placed into the country field. The same applies for the language. For example, if you have a standard language which you're normally using, and in your extract you have only for certain customers other languages like in English, Spanish, or something, you can give your standard language for each record that comes without any language code in this legacy field. And then we do have this phone number, and we have a special routine number 6, which is removing spaces from a certain field. And just to give you an overview, there is a couple of conversions which we have, especially moving numbers or converting numbers to the correct format which is required in the SAP load sheet. We have this extract street and house number from address, and we also have several routines to convert different date formats coming from the legacy system into that one which is required in the SAP XML load sheet. And as I said, we do have the routine number 6, which is remove spaces. So when you want to start your conversion into this XML sheet, you just hit F10, and you can choose the path by double clicking where you want to place your output file, and you choose which object you want to process. In our case, it's the customer. Then you hit the start button, and as next you need to select the template which you want to be filled. And in the next step you choose your source of extracted data, and then the data will be processed, and there is a proposal for the file name it will be saved with, which is based on the input file name. And you can save and close this window. And now we're going to open this XML file, looking at the result. can see was just created. You always have in the output file also the date and the time when it was created. And what we can see now is that according to the mapping, the fields have been transferred from the extracted file into the XML load sheet. There were some other fields also where is a fixed value required, like customer account group or the business partner grouping. And then there are the fields which are content-wise transferred one-to-one. And what you of course cannot do, you cannot change the fields in this load sheet because this is required in the data migration cockpit. And you can see that the street name is separated from the house number and and also there was no country code given in the load sheet for DE. So this fixed value has been placed in there because it was empty coming from the legacy system. And what also has been done is that the spaces have been removed from the telephone number. And here I just, for security reasons, did transfer the address in the combined format, how it comes from the legacy, for lookup purposes into this nodes for address field. This is how it works. And with this XML load sheet, you can simply go and take this load sheet and load it or simulate it in your SAP S4HANA data migration cockpit. And the data migration cockpit will tell you if there are any errors, formal errors or something. And that's a very, very efficient method from our point of view. So we are very happy that we can provide this masterpiece to you. We are working with this environment in the current project since now almost 5 weeks, and we have all major independent objects already ready for load, so they are completely successfully simulated. We could remove all errors, and this what we have for material master, customer, vendors, and currently equipments, where we do a very high number, do have a very high number of equipments, for example, but all this is already simulated, and this is a fantastic result given the restrictions which we do have to migrate data into the S4HANA public cloud system. And we will certainly facilitate this update option to do some cleansings outside the legacy systems, because we cannot cleanse each and every field what requires cleansing in the legacy system, because of course our legacy system needs to run productive until the SAP S4HANA go live. So we will provide our S4HANA data migration cockpit converter in our Digistore for download. And for the next weeks, it will be provided for a special price until end of September 2025. And then we will place the full price. We just want to give everybody the opportunity to try out and experience this fantastic generic tool. As I said, you can really use it for each and every SAP XML load template which you find in the data migration cockpit for download, and you can transpose and transform all your legacy data which needs to be transformed, which you do have in a legacy system available, into these XML load sheets. And the good thing is by doing this, you can do it really repetitively. So it's easy. You can, like we, in the moment, we are facing our mock 1 load now, and we will do our mock 1 load with a complete set of data, which then finally will facilitate later on integration and acceptance testing a lot. If you do have any questions, I'm happy if you place those in the notes of this video or straight contact me, and we are also happy to help. We are also happy to help with the development of additionally reformatting and cleansing functions which you require. We are just using this fantastic tool since few weeks, and definitely we have not experienced each and every reformatting which is necessary from legacy systems. But a big example where it was helping a lot was all our numeric fields in the legacy system were coming with a big number of decimals. And as you may know, SAP only allows mainly in numeric fields 2 or maximum 3 decimals. So we had to convert many fields and round it up to the format which is possible to be loaded into SAP. I hope you're going to download the tool, and I hope you will have good experience. And as mentioned already, if there are any questions, feel free to contact us, and we definitely will help. We are also very keen to receive some experience from your usage of the tool and also continue developing it. We are currently already working on a more comfortable user interface, and this will be most probably released in autumn this year already, and it will be a free update for everybody who has already bought this current version of the S4HANA Data Migration Cockpit Converter. Thanks a lot, and I wish you a very successful SAP S4HANA implementation, either in the private or in the public cloud.